This presentation was created and narrated by Joseph Dyer and Andrew Wallace for the CS 428 Computer Security class at the University of Alabama. Today, we'll be talking about the steps required to maintain and the value of computer security. Specifically, we'll be detailing the security process as it pertains to corporations. In addition, we have surveyed an office product and equipment company based out of Ashland, Virginia, called TSRC Inc., and documented their current security practices and policies. The purpose of this presentation is not only to educate interested listeners on proper security practices, but also to analyze the current security measures in place at TSRC and suggest ways in which they can improve in that specific area. Before we discuss the specific components of computer security, let's talk about why securing the data and programs within a company is important in the first place. While many companies make an attempt to secure their computer systems, there are many that don't realize just how important computer security is to having and maintaining a successful business. An unsecured system not only puts company data and property at risk, it also dissuades other companies and individuals from wanting to do business with this company. There are three main areas of computer security in industry: data security, program security, and network security. Each one has its own intricacies and can result in different types of damage. Data security is making sure that data created by, owned by, or loaned to a company isn't seen, altered, or deleted by unauthorized users. Unsecured data puts sensitive company data at risk. Program security is the process of making sure company programs are not altered or destroyed and are always performing their intended tasks. By inserting malicious code or subprograms into existing company programs, attackers can alter their functions or totally disable them. These types of attacks can often go unnoticed for long periods of time and pose a constant security risk. Network security is making sure only authorized information and data is being transmitted into and out of a company's network. An unsecured network can result in attacks on or theft of digital property, or even complete network shutdown.
Now that we know why securing corporate computer systems is important, let's go over some key concepts of computer security. These concepts are not exhaustive. Computer security is extremely complex and always changing, but understanding these principles will give listeners a leg up in the security landscape. Employee training is making sure not only your security team, but all employees are trained and educated on effective and strict security policies. Firewalls are security systems that control what enters and exits a computer network. Antivirus software is software that prevents infection of computer systems by malicious programs. Backing up data is the process of creating a copy of the data and information on a computer system in case of unwanted deletion or alteration of data. Recovery protocols are the ways in which a system is restored based on data backups. Network monitoring is the process of watching traffic moving through a computer network in order to notice any irregularities or possibly harmful traffic. User authentication is the system in place that identifies users and makes sure that they are only given access to resources in which they are allowed to access. Now, let's move on and talk about each subject in detail, beginning with employee training.
Properly training employees to deal with the wide range of security problems is an often overlooked aspect in securing a computer network. While programs and code are effective weapons in the fight against digital attackers, employees can be thought of as the guards that wield these weapons. While the quality of these guards plays a large factor in the overall security level of a system, making sure a security team is of the proper size is important as well. More security experts results in greater compartmentalization of tasks. Instead of a smaller team being overwhelmed by complex and time-consuming responsibilities, a larger team can focus on individual jobs with more time and detail. There are three main concepts that a security team should be trained on: understanding the parts of their system that have vulnerabilities, discovering new vulnerabilities that might also exist in the system, and knowing the proper and efficient ways to fix these vulnerabilities. Security team members should have prior experience that prepares them for the daunting task of protecting a corporate computer system. This experience can come in the form of education or previous employment. Past jobs often speak for themselves, but education can differ greatly from university to university. The best way to tell if a security expert meets the requirements for securing a specific system is their list of certifications. There are many different certifications based on technologies and techniques in the security world alone. The InfoSec Institute is one of the leading companies when it comes to teaching the material for and providing professionals with certifications. Most recognized security certifications are offered on their website and can be completed in relatively short amounts of time. While it's obviously important that a security team is properly trained, it doesn't stop there. Every employee at a company is responsible for the security of their digital resources. Educating all employees on how to identify security risks, as well as how to avoid them, on a continuous basis is an essential part of alleviating everyday risk from a network. In addition to consistently educating other employees, members of a security team should be afforded ample time to research new security techniques and technologies in order to keep up with the always changing landscape.
Firewalls are the first line of defense in computer security systems. Any data, code, programs, or messages that go into or out of a network must first pass through a firewall. These are often sophisticated programs that sometimes exist on their own separate hardware for extra security. Any successful modern business requires communication and interaction with outside networks, such as LAN and WLAN. Firewalls can be configured to allow or deny entry of certain packets based on their content. Packets entering the network either meet the security requirements that the firewall is configured with, or show no traces of malicious content that the firewall is meant to look for. Firewalls can be configured in many ways, and it's up to a company's network administrator to set theirs up in a way to prevent attacks, but does not hinder normal traffic. Having effective firewall software, as well as an experienced network administrator, are keys to maintaining a secure network. Out-of-date or cheap firewall technology can be unreliable or simply unable to detect certain attacks. Attackers are always trying to find new ways to circumvent existing firewall security protocols. It is costly, but continuing updating a company's firewall is often the only way to defend oneself against these new type attacks. As much security as firewalls offer, they aren't perfect. Trojan horses, disguised malicious software, can sometimes make it past firewall security. On top of that, insider attacks occur within the network and therefore never go through the firewall in the first place. There are other ways to prevent or fix these security breaches that will be detailed later.
While firewalls are effective at preventing malware from entering a system, they are not perfectly secure. This is where antivirus software proves useful. Antivirus software is used to detect various forms of malicious software that has infiltrated the system. These include file viruses, macro viruses, encrypted viruses, worms, and other various types of malicious software. As stated before, antivirus software can provide a second line of defense when the firewall fails. Oftentimes, the antivirus software includes a firewall that is installed on the user's desktop. In some extreme cases, this software can lock down the computer to prevent any processes from being executed. This is effective in combating malware that can reproduce rapidly. The safest technique for using antivirus software is to scan frequently to detect dormant viruses, which are viruses that have yet to execute their malicious code. These scans can use a dictionary of known viruses, or if the virus is less common, perform special analysis to detect malicious code. Sometimes code may not be retrieved over the network. In this case, the code has been introduced to the system by other means, such as flash drives or external hard drive. Before this code should be accepted by the machine, the best practice is to scan the device using the antivirus software.
Backing up data is oftentimes the best and sometimes the only way to recover from a security breach. The purpose of many digital attacks is to destroy or alter existing data or programs within a company's computer system. Creating consistent, up-to-date backups that can easily be recovered can prevent precious company resources from being permanently lost. Data can even be lost by accident, so keeping regular backups is important even for secure or unimportant systems. While backing up data is always good practice, it's not always easy. One inherent problem with backups is their efficiency. Depending on the size of data and programs being copied, backups can take long amounts of time to perform and can take up large amounts of space. There is often a trade-off between performing frequent up-to-date backups and maintaining a fully functioning available system. This is due to sometimes needing to take a system down or reduce its traffic in order to perform the backup. These backups can exist on physical external drives or on a cloud server. However, cloud backups have their own drawbacks as they can require large amounts of bandwidth, not to mention the slow adoption by some companies of hosting vital company assets on cloud servers. All things considered, where backups are stored is usually decided based on cost. Backed up data is backed up data, and as long as it is properly protected and backed up frequently enough to not lose valuable data, it should serve its company just fine. Sometimes, to improve security, network monitoring can be performed. Network monitoring provides performance and usage statistics which can include peak traffic times, download speeds, and bandwidth. The best use of these statistics is to determine faults within the network which can help prevent any unwanted intrusions. Hackers can exploit known flaws in security, so it is best to constantly keep an eye on where components are failing. Most network monitoring is done in real time to decrease reaction time when a security risk becomes apparent. One such example would be in detecting a denial of service attack. The most common symptom of a potential DOS attack is a sudden increase in traffic flow. If a network administrator finds this suspicious, he can take measures to either prevent the attack or minimize the damage. These measures would be to increase bandwidth or limiting network traffic. Another useful functionality of network monitoring is to observe the data being transferred. This data could be malicious, which is intended to cause harm and also known as hacking, or junk data, which can appear harmless but when received in mass quantities may cause a system disruption such as a DDoS attack.
The final security component we will be discussing is user authentication. This practice is used to verify the identity of a user and the different operations they can perform within a system. The most commonly used method of authentication is the username and password. Not only can user authentication determine if someone is who they say they are, it can also hold users accountable for their actions. This is quite helpful when damage has been done to the system and someone needs to be assigned the blame. Once the perpetrator has been identified, further legal actions can be taken, such as termination of employment or possible criminal charges. To help keep each user's account secure, passwords are known only to the original user. These passwords must also be kept secure by secretly storing them in an encrypted file. The degree of security for the password file depends on the strength of the encryption algorithm. Stronger algorithms will take more time to decrypt, by which point the potential intruder has given up trying to crack the password. When a user wishes to use a virtual private network, or VPN, other methods of authentication may be required. This could be a token that generates random numbers combined with a PIN number. A two-step authentication method such as this is even more secure than traditional passwords. One method of authentication that is becoming increasingly popular is the use of biometrics. These are devices such as fingerprint scanners, retinal scanners, and facial recognition software. With the recent advances in technology, these techniques are constantly increasing in accuracy. One disadvantage of biometrics is that they can be costly, especially the more accurate devices. In this case, biometrics may be used when a high level of security is desired. Now that we've discussed the different components involved in properly securing a corporate computer system, let's see how they are put into practice in a real corporation. TSRC Inc. has agreed to answer some questions based on these areas in order to aid our research, as well as receive advice on how they can improve their own security measures. Let's get started by analyzing their firewall practices. TSRC has decided to use the Cisco ASA 5510 firewall device as their main network gateway. This device is a separate component from the network routers and switches. A feature that is helpful with network monitoring is that the device provides full visibility over network traffic. That would include all connected PCs, mobile devices, and applications, and can be useful with network usage statistics and analysis. Another feature provided by this firewall is that it allows VPN access. This type of feature allows users to remotely access the network over a secure connection, which would mean that an employee does not need to be physically connected to the network. The most versatile feature of this firewall is its scalability. Network administrators can easily increase the size of the network by adding more devices to the already existing infrastructure. This would prove to be convenient if the size of the company increases. One of the main cons with the ASA 5510 is its usability. Compared to other similar devices, the ASA's user interface has been widely criticized as being poorly developed. Using a command line interface to issue commands is still a feature in this device, but this type of interface is dated and oftentimes difficult for newcomers to understand and use. Overall, the Cisco ASA 5510 firewall device seems to have an adequate amount of options and reliability to meet TSRC's needs.
The antivirus software used by TSRC is Semantic Endpoint Protection 12.1. This software combined with the firewall creates 2 layers of defense from the user and the outside world. The software also includes a firewall that acts as another barrier between the user's computer and any outside communications, giving each device its own firewall. Semantic Endpoint Protection uses their Insight technology to analyze files. This technology categorizes files based on risk, giving higher risk files a higher priority. Higher risk files could include personal data, sensitive information, or files that are critical to system operations. These files will be scanned more frequently compared to those with lower risk. This method also allows the software to detect malware more accurately and quicker because the files most likely to be compromised are being scanned often. Other files are still scanned, just not as frequently. Symantec has claimed that they provide high performance with this software. The performance increases are partially caused by the software's minimization of memory used. Also, the Insight analysis improves overall detection times. In the event that a system is compromised, Symantec can initiate a system-wide lockdown. This lockdown will prevent any further processes from being executed. For their recovery mechanisms, TSRC has chosen Avamar. Services provided by Avamar can be hosted locally or over the web, which can be helpful for startup companies. This backup service is claimed to be quick and efficient, which is due to the system storing only unique changes made within the last 24 hours. The system also has an easy-to-use interface, which can be accessed via a web browser as opposed to a command line console. Avamar also provides a wide range of storage capabilities, supporting anywhere from a few hundred gigabytes to 124 terabytes of data. The way that TSRC uses this system is that only their essential servers are backed up. Their main servers are backed up every 3 hours, while others are serviced nightly. This method of selecting only the important data to backup can help minimize the costs associated with backup and recovery. Also, instead of backing their data up on a cloud network, TSRC has decided to host these services within their facility. To manage their users and processes, TSRC uses Microsoft Active Directory, which works over a Windows domain network. Active Directory allows administrators to apply software updates across the entire network. Security of this process is ensured because only designated administrators can use this functionality. Being on a Windows domain, user access is password protected. When users set up their passwords, these passwords are stored in an encrypted file within the directory. Each login attempt by a user is checked against this file before allowing access. Data within Active Directory is organized into a database with corresponding executable code. Objects that are considered security principals are given a unique identifier to allow access to certain users. Groups of users can be associated with security principals as well as individual users. Privileges can be added or removed by modifying the object attributes, and users who work on similar projects can be given the same permissions. One of the more useful aspects of Active Directory is that it is integrated with Windows. This eliminates the use of any complicated third-party applications, and it is more widely known by administrators. A useful practice by TSRC is that they only allow administrators to authenticate into their servers. Their administrators are assigned to specific servers and only they can modify these servers. This means that other administrators cannot access a server they have not been assigned to. Using this practice adds an element of accountability. Malicious modifications can be traced back to a specific person, at which point further actions can be taken. TSRC also makes use of wireless LAN networks. On these wireless channels, they use WPA2 encryption, which is considered much stronger than older techniques such as WEP. The use of encrypting wireless channels helps eliminate the risk of unwanted eavesdropping. Hackers may still be able to intercept messages, but they will not be able to decrypt them, therefore keeping the data secure.
TSRC reports that their current security team consists of only one individual. As stated earlier, it would most likely be beneficial to increase the size of the security team. By simply hiring one more security expert, the work required of each member of the security team could obviously be potentially reduced by 50%. Due to shared responsibilities, this is unlikely, but it would still benefit the current single security expert. Divided work means more attention given to each task and a higher quality of work. In addition, a two-person security team creates a clear line of responsibility between internal and external security. That is, making sure a network is secure from attacks from inside the company and attacks from outside the company, respectively. In our survey with TSRC, it was also revealed that employees for their security team are merely required to have a background in computer security. This kind of requirement is vague and can lead to the hiring of a professional that is not suited to head up the security of this specific company. Each company is different, and so are its security needs. That's why TSRC should maintain a list of current certifications that accurately reflect the technologies in place and security needs at TSRC. Making sure all members of the security team possess these certifications will ensure that they have the knowledge and skills to protect TSRC's digital assets. Using frontline management to train non-security staff, as TSRC does, is a great way to educate employees on important security protocols. These types of protocols can be anything from how to recognize and report potentially malicious programs to what websites employees should and shouldn't visit on company computers. The important thing here is that all employees are trained on these subjects on a regular basis, so that they stay reminded of not only how to maintain a secure computer system, but also why it is important they do so. This is well established by using frontline management to do the training, as it is more personable and makes it more apparent that management cares about keeping digital resources safe. By properly educating non-security personnel, the risk of accidental and intended insider attacks and security breaches is greatly mitigated. Overall, TSRC's policies on training non-security employees is admirable and most likely effective. Overall, TSRC is a good example of what companies should strive for when setting up their security network. Their firewall device is efficient and reliable with a lot of configuration. Their semantic endpoint protection antivirus software performs priority file scanning and takes up a relatively small amount of computer resources. Backups of essential servers are performed every 3 hours for main servers and daily for others. And their use of Windows Active Directory for user authentication and restrictions on server authentication prevent unauthorized users from accessing the system. There are some areas that could be improved upon, though. As mentioned earlier, the security team is small. Hiring more experts with more specific guidelines and certification requirements would probably be a good idea. In addition, it's worth considering that the Cisco ASA 5510 may be difficult for new security team members to learn due to its clunky user interface. Also, while essential servers are backed up regularly, all other servers are at risk of being permanently deleted or altered if they're not backed up as well. We'd like to thank TSRC Inc. for participating in this survey and hope we have provided them with valuable information that can help them improve their security protocols.